Tell me, are you ready to find your weird way? Weird was a concept that was spoken of long ago. It meant fate, it meant destiny, it meant your path in life. I'm your host, Dean Bentley, and I am here to explore how you can connect to your own path in life, to know the essence of your own soul, to connect to that single spark that lives within the deepest recesses of your being that says, this is why I am here, to go beyond the limitations, the constrictions of the modern world, and open you to the possibilities and the potentiality of what is possible within this world. Join me as we dive deep on the weird way. Welcome back, Weird Ways. I am excited. I have not done a solo cast in a little while, and I've got some juice for you today. I recently did a post asking what was your biggest judgment of the coaching industry, and this one gave me so much insight. It allowed me to see the shadows of myself, of like the collective, and what it actually takes to become a coach. Because so many people, I think, come into this industry and they get afraid of the judgments, the projections, the perceptions of what other people might have of them. And this, what happens is so many people contract. They're afraid to go after what they want. They're afraid to serve because they're afraid of things like people will think I'm only here for the money, that I don't actually care for people. And they have these judgments and they're so afraid to meet them that they just give up. They don't go after what they want. They contract and say, I'll play small. I'll just hide myself. I won't say what I want to say. I won't charge what I want to charge. I won't impact the way I want to impact because people might have these judgments of me. And it is destroying so many people's dreams. And so, what I loved about this post was I got a really good view of what's occurring within the collective consciousness around the coaching industry. This had over 200 comments, and it was like people sharing their opinions, their viewpoints, their perspectives. And it's not to limit any of that or say none of it is true. These are all ideas, these are all opinions, and they all have an energetic weight. So, as an individual, if you're looking to become a coach or a healer or be of service or even have a soul aligned business, these are the judgments that you may have of yourself. These are the judgments other people may have of you. This is what we call projection. And as a leader, as someone who is here to serve, what this means is that when you shine your light, people may view you shining that light as one of these things. And unless you are comfortable with this, you are going to hide, you are going to keep yourself small, you are going to limit yourself because you don't want to be perceived in this way, because your nervous system hasn't gained the ability to hold this projection yet. It would freak out, it would go into overwhelm, anxiety, or contraction. Like there would be an activation of your nervous system that would trigger you into a survival response, which means then you wouldn't be able to serve in the way that you're meant to serve. So, this is a bit of a problem because you can either run from this your entire life. You could run from all your fears, what people think of you. You could continue down that route, and it's not going to work. You're not going to live the life you want. I'm going to be real with you and I'm going to be clear that if you are running from these judgments, if you are afraid of things like sales, marketing, if you're afraid to be seen as greedy, as selfish, as not caring about your clients, as too direct, angry, assertive, whatever it is, if you are hiding these parts of yourself, you are not going to serve in the capacity that you are that there is possibility for because you are stuck in an egoic construct of who you think you are. You are playing a game of, I am this character. I need to stay within this box. You're doing what you think you should do. You are not being who you're actually here to be. You're not being in your truth. And one of the most powerful pieces of transmission you can give a client and this world is for you to be authentic. It is for you to be yourself, because that is what is healing. Because people don't need you to tell them all the things they should do. They need you to help them reveal who they are, the essence of who they are, the permission piece, so they don't have to put themselves in the box they've put themselves in their whole life. And this is why it's so important to be going first. This is why, if you are here to lead, you actually have to meet these things. It doesn't mean you have to do them, but you have to be willing. You have to have the energetic capacity within your nervous system to do these things. Because if you think that, I can just avoid this and still serve at the deepest level you want, no, you cannot. It's not possible, because you're hiding, you're avoiding, and that transmission is going to be felt on an energetic level for your clients. It's on the subtle level. If you are hiding, if you are saying that, no, I'm not willing to go there, I'm not willing to be seen as a salesperson, a marketer, someone who cares about money, these pieces that are big for so many people, well, you are not given that permission for your clients and who you serve. And your avoidance will be transmitted to them. And it won't give them the full capacity to step into their potential. And if you're in this space, if you're in the Wyrd way, I know you're here to serve at the deepest level. I know you're here to shine your light and give people the permission to step into their potential. That is what we're doing here. We're figuring out how to walk our own path, our Wyrd way. And that involves meeting the edges of our identity and expanding beyond that. And I want you to know that unless you're willing to do that for yourself, you can't do that for others. So I was recently on the weekend in a sales training, and I was like, oh, I don't want to share this. I don't want people to see me as a salesman. I'm afraid of all the connotations that are connected to that, that I am a sleazy salesman who doesn't care about my clients, doesn't care about anything other than money. These are the judgments that I would have of myself. And I was like, that is bullshit. I know how deeply I care. I know how deeply I want the best for the people I work with. I know how committed I am to that. And yet there was that part of me that said, oh, no, you can't be seen that way. You can't be embrace that, because then you are this, and people are going to be afraid to work with you. They're going to be afraid to have conversation because they're just thinking you might just sell them. Well, yeah, I do want to sell people, and that's the piece. I want people to do my work because I believe in it at the deepest level. I know what it offers someone when they work with me. And when I was afraid to sell people, when I was afraid to share my work in that way, it was actually, I was not back in my work. I didn't believe in it in the way I do now. I was still like, oh, maybe this will give you results. Maybe you will get what you want. Maybe you'll get there. But do you feel that? Do you feel the difference between that then when I'm willing to stand behind my work and say, I know the power of this, I know what it will give you, and I know if you're willing to step into this container with me, it's going to change your life. That is a different felt experience. And when we're afraid of these pieces of sales, of marketing, of things like that. And because this was a lot of what the judgments were about. They were stuff around coaches only caring about money, about hustling for money, about forcing sales, about not being embodied in their work. And this is a piece that's connected to sales, because if you're not embodied within the sales process, well, there's pieces for you to meet there that is going to have a deeper embodiment so you can transmit your work in the way that you want. Because a sales conversation is helping a person open to the possibility of what this work can do for them. And it can be triggering, it can be activating, it can be healing. I've had some of the biggest healings in my own sales conversations, which may sound crazy, but for me, it's when I get to meet these parts of that are afraid to say yes to life, that have been, I don't know if I believe in myself, that are still holding back, that haven't fully said yes. And so when I've said yes to a container, when I've said yes to invest in, what it has given me is that faith in myself. It's like, no, I am backing myself right now. I am going in. And this is what it takes because these judgments, these judgments people are going to have, that is a certainty. They're going to think of all the things that you possibly fear of being said to. Your deepest fear, people may not ever see that, but if you're unwilling to meet that, well, you're going to live in the box that you can't do certain things. And so, right now, tune into what is your deepest fear? What is the thing that you absolutely feel you have to avoid? What is the thing that would petrify you, hurt you, pain you if someone said it to you? Because that is what you're avoiding. That is the thing that is going to keep you stuck. Because if you're not willing to meet that, if you're not willing to feel that and let it course through your body, you are going to force yourself into a box so that never happens because you believe it's unsafe for that thing to occur. So you have to stay within the capacity of what you know, of what's known. And that limits you. And what happens when you're willing to meet that fear, when you're willing to say yes to it, I'm willing to feel you, I'm willing to experience you, well, your nervous system expands, your energetic capacity expands, and no longer are you fighting that thing. You're like, hey, worst case scenario, this might hurt because it still might. You might feel the hurt, you might feel the trigger, you might feel the activation, but your body will have an ingrained sense of knowing how to move through it. It will have the adaptation, the ability to allow that energy to move through your system. So instead of holding really tense and tight, you can be more relaxed, you can be more open, and you can be then open to opportunity, possibility, and you can have a laugh if someone says to you some of your worst fears. Because in that, what I've seen in so many of my clients and within myself is that when we've operated from that place of, I can't say that, people will have that judgment about me, there's an element of the pleaser. And the pleaser is the person that says, I need love, I need validation, I need something from you. And this won't work because, on an energetic, subtle level, the pleaser has an energy of neediness. It's saying, I need you. And if you've ever felt this within a partner or a friend and they've got a really needy energy and it's like, come on, can I just give it to me? I really need this. I really just like am really needy. There's a repulsion force that comes up automatically. And it's like, no, I no, like it kind of aversion wants to push that away because I think as human nature, it's not is not accepted because we know that that's not a way that we need to live. We know that we don't need have that sense of neediness. Like on a in a when we are in our complete sovereign state, we know that that need doesn't exist. It's not our human healthy nature. It's when you're in survival, in your animalistic. It's like when you've disconnected from your divinity that this survival instinct comes up and it's this neediness and it's often the inner child who hasn't been healed on some level, so it's trying to grasp at something to give it safety because it doesn't trust in life yet. And you're not a child anymore. And this doesn't mean it's a judgment, but there's an invitation. If you feel that neediness of I need to be a certain way to still get the love, to still get like to have permission to be who I am, well, there's an invitation for deeper healing there. And when you're able to meet that and heal that and be with that, what that is going to do is give you permission to be yourself in this world. It's going to give you permission to meet these parts of yourself that you've been very afraid of, the parts of yourself that may be seen as greedy, as uncaring, as whatever it is that you're afraid of to be seen as in your business or in your life, because these are the things you're avoiding. And when you can meet them and let go of this pleaser energy that you have to be a certain way to get love, because that's what it is. That at its deepest core is what it is, that you have to fit yourself into a box that you were conditioned by when you were young, when you were small, from your family, friends, culture, society, whatever it was, you were conditioned that you had to be a certain way. And then when you start to step outside of that box, you get afraid that you won't be loved, that you won't be accepted, that you won't be enough, that you'll be too much, whatever the fear is. But this is why you have to meet it, because in doing that, in expanding your capacity, you are giving yourself permission to be loved in the totality of your being. And that in that, you're given permission to others. So if you're serving, if you're coaching, this gives permission to your clients to be who they are, to share who they are, and be more widely expressed, because this ultimately is what you desire for them. In And I can't see any other thing you'd want for them. So this is the importance of going first, because you are here to meet yourself, to heal yourself. And this means meeting the discomfort, because a soul aligned business, it can only operate when you're willing to walk the walk first, because you are a leader. Days of the pedestal and of the feeling like you need to be above someone to know everything, the guru complex, them days are done. What you need to be doing is leading out front, to be shining your light and saying, I'm going this way. I'm going on this journey of expansion. I'm willing to be all of myself. I'm going to go and walk my path so that others who are willing will come with me, who are willing to meet themselves, who are willing to shine as well, because this is what we're doing. This is what I'm doing. I know there is more layers, more expansion, more expression for me, and I am devoted to walk in that path and be on this journey of becoming. That is why I'm sharing this, because there was a part of me that was afraid. And I'm like, no, that is not the life that I want to live. One of fear, one of contraction, one of I'm not good enough as I am and my desires aren't welcome. No, that is not what I want and what I desire. And this is the invitation for you. Are you willing to meet yourself? Are you willing to journey there? Are you willing to be seen, celebrated, and loved in the totality of your being? Not just the parts of yourself that are here as the good boy, the good girl, but the fullness, the darkness, the directness, the aggressive, the assertive, the contracted, the contorted, the twisted, like these parts of you. If you shut them down, this is the shadow. They want to be seen so they can be loved and integrated and released. So you can come into the fullness of your being, not the state of limitation that so many people live in. Because in that limitation, this is where scarcity, this is where survival lives. Because it's like, no, I couldn't possibly have what I want. That's the operating system. That is the belief. Like survival, scarcity, it's focused on what I can't possibly have because there's not enough. And well, if that's occurring for you, you're probably telling yourself that in every area, that there's not enough space for you, that there's not enough clients, there's not enough money, there's not enough opportunity. These exist everywhere in your life. And it's not until you realize, no, you can have it all. You can step into the possibility when you say yes, when you're willing to say yes. That is when possibility opens, when your soul is activated, when you know you're here for something more, because it is here and it is calling you, and it's going to bust down those walls of limitation, of lack, of everything you've said you couldn't have or couldn't do, because it wants you to know that you can be in your fullness. It wants you to know that you can be here as your divine, sovereign divinity that is here to be all of yourself. That is what the world is trying to show you. It's not trying to punish you. It's not trying to keep you in pain. That pain is a guidance that's asked you to expand, that is willing, that is asking you to be willing to die to what is so something else can be reborn. You are being asked to step into so much more now. And this means you have to be willing to meet all the shadows, the judgments, the projections. And if you have to hold them for another and be willing to be seen as that, that is okay because only you at your core can know what you stand for. So allow yourself to meet anything that you're afraid to meet because in the meeting of that, you are going to be more free, more expressive, more potent, more powerful, more sovereign, more of yourself. And that is what you came here for. That is what you're craving. So give yourself the permission to be that. Give yourself the permission to go there. This is what you're being asked to do. So weird ways. That is my piece for today. That is my transmission. And so, if you've got a lot of out of this, if you've had your own judgments of the coaching space, I would love for you to share that. I would love for you if you could share what are you afraid to be seen as, and let yourself be seen in that. Tag me, share that to your socials. Let the world know what you've been afraid to be seen as, because in doing that, you get to be seen as that. Then you get to be loved, and you can let that go. So tag me, share the weird way, share this with someone. If you've got something out of it, rate this podcast so I can continue to transmit this. I can continue opening these experiences so you can be more of your fullness because that is what I desire for you. And for those that know they need to go into this deeper, that have felt the call and for this work, who are like, okay, I know there's more for me, and I know that I'm ready to step into that next level of possibility, of potentiality. Well, send me a message. I've currently got spots open in my one-on-one mentorship for those who are looking to expand their soul's capacity, who are willing to be in the fullness of their own life so they can share themselves with this world. So if this is you, send me a message. I know there's a few of you in here who are feeling that call. I've talked to a few of you. Now the time is to claim that. Weird ways. It's been an absolute pleasure. Have a beautiful day. I'll be speaking to you soon.